Welcome to the C3PO show. This segment, whatever you want to call it, we are talking about the offensive line, arguably the biggest gaps to be filled for the 2017 Seattle Seahawks season. Russ been sacked 40 times every single year since he's been in the league. So what do you think the line that needs to be worked on this offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, we saw a few good things coming in this year and a few things that need some major improvement. The first thing is that our free agency last year, we tried to get a couple guys in free agency, and neither of them worked out. One didn't even make the field, and Jamarcus Webb, who I think we paid about $4 million to. And the other one played a little bit, but never had a good game. Not one good game. He played a left tackle and he played a right tackle. One game, I went out saying, well, Bradley Sal had a good game. So that means that we need to do one of two things: either try and find another better free agents, or try and get a couple of guys in the draft. We did try and find a couple of guys in the draft, Jermaine Ifedi and Reese Odiombo. So I think those guys will probably stick around along. We got Joey Hunt as well, who's the backup center, and he'll probably just stay on the squad just to be the backup center. It's always nice to have an extra guy. But we did see some good things from Justin Britt. What did you think about Justin Britt this year?
Well, recently, as a Seahawks fan, we've been watching a lot of Justin Britt, hoping that he'd finally come through. I believe we paid a second-round draft pick for him. He's really had issues with holding, but I think he really found his spot at the center position. Kind of like Max Unger, he moved around our offensive line a lot and then really found his home as a center. And I don't think that Justin Britt is the same talent as Max Unger, but I do think that he's at least a serviceable center. I'm happy with Ifedi and know that he'll make leaps and bounds as he continues to get better each and every year. So definitely don't hold a whole lot against him. And I think Gary Gilliam is getting better. He's still not elite. I don't think he'll ever be elite, but he's been serviceable. Hasn't been too terrible. But the one thing I guess that we're all waiting for is somebody to protect Russell Wilson. And I don't have a problem with George Fenn. I think he's a great guy. Potentially, I don't know him personally, but it's something that we have to address. So I think left tackle is going to be the key for the Seahawks. That's priority number one. And if it's not number one, then I think it's for sure 1B. For me, I'm B, but you have to see that.
NFC Championship game, you would have seen towards the end of the game, TJ Lang went down with what looked like a very severe injury to his ankle. He's a free agent. He plays left guard for the Green Bay Packers, but he's unrestricted. And they've been trying to work out a deal with TJ Lang in Green Bay for some time now, and they haven't been able to come to terms with that. And now he's injured. So I think that's kind of an open market guy, a guy who could come in who's been elite and who has been at the top of his game, been one of the best guards in the NFL. And he could come into Seattle and do some great things and be a great guy right next to Justin Britt, who's been showing that he hopefully he can become one of the top centers in the league eventually. Maybe having Lang next to him will help that in his development. So I think TJ Lang is a great guy. I know a lot of people would be concerned about his injuries, but if you looked over the past few years, he's been a starter for the last 6 years. He's only missed 5 games in that time span. But going into this next year, he's also going to have some hip problems. So he had hip surgery. So it may just be he was injured this year, struggled a little bit and got injured again with his ankle. And hopefully he can get those things worked out in the offseason. And I think he would plug in great. 29, it means he's probably got one more contract in him. Offensive linemen usually go to about mid-30s. So that's why I see in free agency. That's the one guy I kind of like. No one else that really sticks out. How about for you? Who are you looking at in free agency?
Well, I think that if we're going to have Russell Wilson and he's going to be successful, we need somebody that's elite. And I think Matt Khalil could be that guy. He's a young guy, left tackle. Wouldn't cost us too much money, but I think that we don't have the time to groom anybody with the 26th pick that we could possibly get. I don't think anybody that late would be elite just yet. And I think that Matt Khalil or there's a couple other guys that at left tackle that would be more solid. But I think, we have to get a guy that's elite to be the anchor of the line and then fill in, with George Fant and whatnot from there on out. But I think we need to cough up some money to pay for that one guy that can be the leader the line, and I think Matt Khalil is that guy through free agency.
Yeah, and so that could be two guys right there who may just fill both those needs, that left guard and the left tackle. That would be an amazing turnaround in the offseason. But we also have to look at the draft. There are some guys that are talking about slipping, maybe into some lower drafts, and we also have a couple of guys that we like in the later rounds of the draft. So who you liking coming out of the draft this year?
Well, there's a couple guys that I like at the top of the draft, but I think later on, I think there's some things to fill early on in the draft that maybe a tackle late in the first round isn't the idea. So I like Julian Davenport out of Bucknell University. A lot of scouts are saying he's exceedingly raw and a horrible technique, and that just to me, going back to our analogies earlier, is he's an OTG. He's an R type of guy, and it fits exactly perfectly with what our offensive line is doing, and I think that our offensive coaches and everything, that's the exact type of project that they want to work on. A guy that moldable, but just isn't there yet. And I think with the value of a third rounder later, as of right now, I think Julian Davenport is something that's not on a whole lot of people's radar. So a later pick that's work in progress. I think that's a perfect with Tom Cable's offensive line and with what he can do. So that's who I'm going with. What about you? I know you have a couple picks.
Yeah, I'll start actually the top of it. I think the one guy that a lot of Seahawks fans, even if they're kind of loosely following the draft, the name that's been popping up a lot is Cam Robinson. Probably one of the best tackles talent-wise coming out of Alabama. Made a lot of great plays for them. Was really an anchor on their offense. A guy who really helped out Jalen Hurts in his rookie year or freshman year. And so he's a guy who's been talking about starting to slip. You just don't know at this point. A lot of things fluctuate, a lot of things move. He could be going back up into the top 10, top 15. But for now, he's on the other side of that, where he's in the 20s range. And so if he sticks within that range, I think he's really the selection they have to make with that first pick. There's a lot of other guys that we can talk about who we like. But if we really think about what they need, and they usually don't draft on need. But if they were to draft on need, and Cam Robinson is there, I just don't think that there's really anybody else you can take. So he's the guy that I'm looking for at the top of my draft. How about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I love Cam Robinson, even if we had a higher pick. I think that's the one thing, your quarterback getting hit, not even hit, you're getting sacked. That doesn't even count the amount of times that he gets hit and gets the ball off and all the times that he runs. So definitely something that we need to shore up. You look at the Super Bowl caliber teams, all those quarterbacks, they stayed upright. You watch the end of the Super Bowl, Tom Brady, nobody touched him, and that's how you win championships. You let your quarterback make plays and plays develop, and that's where we need to get back to. And so I think protecting Russ is priority number one this offseason. And I'm all for the Cam Robinson pick, but I think there's another guy potentially that you maybe wanted to talk about, somebody that you thought maybe we could get later in the draft.
There's a guy by the name of Storm Norton. If you don't know who he is, don't feel bad. He may not even make some of your draft boards. But I did a little research. I went through a few of these guys, wanted to look in the deeper rounds of the draft and see what we're looking at. And you can go on YouTube. You can do this yourself. Right after you're watching our projections and where we're looking at these guys, please do your own research. It's kind of fun. You can go out and look at these guys, see what they can do. But Storm Norton is definitely he just looks good. He looks raw, but he pushes guys off the block. From the jump, and I like guys that are just that'll punch you in your face and aren't afraid to do that. He's long, and I think that's always important for an offensive lineman. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but he just looks like he's got good talent and can just plug and play. So maybe an opposite of an OTG. He's not an R type of guy, but he's definitely a guy that you look at and you watch. If you watch some of the other guys, and he stacks up well, and he looks like he could do some special things. The only thing they say that they worry about some of the scouts is that his leverage. You just don't know about if his leverage is gonna work in the NFL. But it's one of those. It's a late round flyer, so you kind of got to just, if it doesn't work, he gets cut.
Yeah, I think people underrate game film. A lot of players you look at see some of the players and they're appalled that some of these guys don't get picked because scouts say this, that, and the other about them, but their game film says differently. So definitely, if you get a chance, check out Storm Norton. I watched a little bit of it and I was impressed. I will say I was impressed. Just as impressed as I was with some of these other guys, Cam Robinson, Ryan Remchek, I believe, and just up and down the line. If there's somebody somebody, and of course it's highlights. So yeah, you get the best plays that they have produced. But watching some of these guys, they're producing against the top line talent, and their highlights are coming up against them. So if they can produce against their top peers. I would like to see what they can do, especially these guys that we named against some of the top tier in the NFL. I think they can hold their own. So
coming into next year, for the fans out there, I know they're probably worried. Is George Fant going to be our starting left tackle?
No, I don't think we can afford George Fant. I like the project. I like that they have the confidence in him, but I think that's more of something to work on a week-by-week practice basis than it is to, you think about it this season, we really struggled keeping Russ healthy, keeping him upright. And although our line did a decent job, we don't need decent, we need great. And I don't think that George's ceiling is great. He's more serviceable. And that's not a knock on George. Just, there's other guys that are better. I would rather have somebody that this is their livelihood. This is what they do, instead of a guy that's a fill-in and hope he's serviceable. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that about wraps it up. There's our offensive line. Drop it down in the comments below. And let's see if you guys have anybody else for us to research. We'd love to see what you got to offer. Your hometown, your university, whatever it is, let us know. And maybe we can watch some film and discuss some of these guys as we head into the draft in late April. So right now, beginning of February, still have the combine, still have a bunch of things going on. And we'll keep you guys updated with things that jump out to us and players that we see shooting up our draft boards or even onto our draft boards. So keep it locked with us, and we'll see you later.
Peace.
Peace.